the 24th of May 2026, Sunday morning. A reading from the Common Buddhist Text, Guidance and Insight from the Buddha. Chief editor of this compilation is Dr. Mahadhamma Kosachan. We are in chapter 8 on Theravada tradition and the perspective on meditation. We left off at the importance of attention. Attention makes the difference. What makes the critical difference regarding whether or not mental defilements visit briefly or stay in the mind is how the mental faculty or the mind is applied to objects with attention. The mind in Pali is called mano. With attention is called manasikara. Literally, it means work of the mind or the workings of the mind. Hence the need for mindfulness or mindful heedfulness or alert, wise attentiveness, so to avoid mishandling the mind's relationship with its objects and so inviting defilements to visit or to remain. Monks, whatever states are unwholesome, have a part in the unwholesomeness or are on the side of unwholesomeness. All these have the mind as their forerunner. First arrives mind, and those wholesome First arrives mind, and those unwholesome states follow after. Monks, whatever states are wholesome, have a part in wholesomeness, or on the side of wholesomeness. All these have mind as their forerunner. First arises mind, and those wholesome states follow after. Monks, I do not see a single thing that so causes unwholesome states to arise and arisen wholesome states to decline as heedlessness. This verse is cited in the Achara Sanghata Vaga, Sutra 6, 7, and 8 from the Anguttara Nikaya, Volume 1, 11. Mind is the forerunner of all mental states. Mind is the leader, the chief. Mind made are they. If one speaks or acts with a solely dirtied mind, because of that, suffering will follow one, even as the will follows the foot of the ox that draw the cart. Mind is the forerunner of all mental states. Mind is their leader, their chief. Mind made are they. If one speaks or acts with a unsullied, pure mind, clean, because of that, happiness follows, even as one's shadow that never leaves. This is cited from the Dhammapada, verse 1 and 2. The role of wise, probing attention is undermining attachment, hatred, and delusion. Wise attention is key to overcoming mental defilements that leads to life's pains. These defilements are sometimes summarized as sensual lust or attachment, but also any kind of lusting after things, hatred, and delusion. The destruction of these three marks, the attainment of awakening, and greed, hatred, and delusion are the roots of unwholesome actions. Attachment is blamable to a small degree, but its removal is slow. Hatred is blamable to a great degree, but its removal is quicker. Delusion is blamable to a great degree, and its removal is slow. For one engages in unwise attention as regards to an object of attractive or from the attractive aspect. Unarisen attachment will arise, and arisen attachment will increase and become strong. For one engage in unwise attention as regards an object's irritating aspects, unarisen hatred will arise, and arisen hatred will increase and become strong. For one engaged in unwise attention, unarisen delusion will arise, and arisen delusion will increase and become strong. For one wisely attending to an object, unattractive aspect, unarisen attachment will not arise. Arisen attachment will be abandoned. For one wisely attending to the liberation of mind by loving kindness, unarisen hatred will not arise, and arisen hatred will be abandoned. For one wisely attending unarisen delusion will not arise, and arisen delusion will be abandoned. This verse is cited in the Anatitiya Sutra Anguttara Nikaya. 5 ways to remove distractive thoughts. This passage suggests 5 ways to overcome an unwholesome thought captured by negative desire, hatred, or delusion. Turning to mind to counteracting wholesome thought as the above passes, seeing the disadvantages of the thought, turning the mind to something else to engage its attention, slowing down and stilling the thought process. The commentary suggests doing so by tracing back how the mind froths itself up into its state, making a mountain out of a molehill, so to speak, and finally using the willpower to eject that thought. Later methods are only to be used if earlier ones have not worked. So the last one, forceful willpower, is the last resort, to be used only when there is something in the mind that remains gripped onto the negative thought. When a monk is intent on the higher mind, there are 5 focuses he should attend to at the appropriate times. What 5? There is the case where evil, unwholesome thoughts mixed with desire, hatred, or delusion arise in a monk while he is referring to and attending to particular focus. He should attend to another focus apart from that one, connected with that, what is wholesome. When he does so, those evil, unwholesome thoughts mixed with desire, hatred, and delusion will be abandoned, will come to an end. When they are abandoned, the mind settles within, becomes quieted, one pointed and composed. This is just as when a skilled carpenter or his apprentice would use a small peg to drive out, and pull out a large one. If evil, unskillful, wholesome thoughts mixed with desire, hate, or delusion arise in the monk while he is attending to the other focuses connected with what is wholesome, he should scrutinize the drawbacks of those thoughts. Thus, truly these thoughts of mine are unwholesome, blameworthy, and ripening in suffering. When he does so, those evil, unwholesome thoughts will be abandoned. The mind settles within, becomes quieted, one-pointed, and composed. This is just as a young woman or a man fond of adornment would be horrified, humiliated, and disgusted if the carcass of a snake or a dog or a human being were being hung from her neck. If evil, unskillful, wholesome thoughts connected with desire, hate, or delusion will arise in the monk while he is scrutinizing the drawbacks of those thoughts, he should try to forget them and pay no attention to them. When he does so, those evil, unwholesome thoughts will be abandoned. The mind settles within, becomes quieted, one-pointed, and composed. This is just as a man with good eyes, not wanting to see the forms that had come into the range, would close his eyes or look away. If evil, unskillful, wholesome thoughts connected with desire, hate, or delusion still arise in the monk while he is trying to forget them and pay no attention to them, he should attend to its stealing of the thought activity of those thoughts. When he does so, those evil, unwholesome thoughts will be abandoned. The mind settles within, becomes quieted, one-pointed, and composed. This is just when the thought would occur to a man walking quickly. Why am I walking quickly? Why am I walking slowly? So he walks slowly. The thought occurs to him. Why am I walking slowly? Why don't I stand? So he stands. The thought occurs to him. Why am I standing? Why I should not sit down? So he sits down. The thought occurs to him. Why am I sitting? Why am I lying down? So he lies down. In this way, giving up the grosser posture, he takes up the more refined one. If evil, unskillful, wholesome thoughts connected with desire, hate, or delusion still arise in the monk while he is attending to the stealing of the thought activities of those thoughtless, then, pressing the lower jaw with the upper jaw and pushing the tongue on the palate, on the upper roof of the mouth, he should beat down, constrain, and crush his mind with his mind. Then he does so, those evil, unwholesome thoughts will be abandoned. The mind settles within, becomes quieted, one-pointed, and composed. This is just as when a strong man seizes a weaker man by the head or the throat or the shoulders, would beat him down, constrain and crush him. Then when a monk composes the mind by applying the above methods, he is called the monk who has mastery over the pathway of thoughts. Whatever thought he wants to think, that he thinks. Whatever thought he does not want to think, that he does not think. He has cut off craving, removed the mental fetters, and rightfully overcoming conceit, made an end of suffering. This passage is cited in the Vitaka Santana Sutra, Majjhima Nikaya, Volume 1, 119 to 122. We're going to leave off there on chapter 8 from the perspective from the Theravada tradition on meditation, as we pick up on the next one on samatha and vipassana meditation, calm and insight meditation. A reading from the Common Buddhist Text, Guidance and Insight from the Buddha. Chief editor of this compilation is Dr. Mahadhamma Kosachan.